This will be a demonstration of the Quickdraw weaving program's ability to look at a multi-layer fabric. In this case, I'm starting with 4-shaft 22-point twill. And first thing I'm actually going to do is real quickly create a 4-layer folded product. So I've now got that guy. And if I go back in and look at the multi-layer cloth, what it's actually going to do, it's look through. It's looking at the tie-up, and the tie-up is shown here. And it's figured out there's actually 4 layers in that from looking at how the tie-ups are set up. And let me start on the right here. If I want to, I can tell it I want more layers. And what the layers does is how many rows of things I have. The layers work with the shaft assignment table here. So for example, I can move shafts 13 to 16 up to the upper layer, move them down to the lower layer, so I can physically lay out the screen so I can see what's going on. The other thing I also have is control of the shed. If the shed function is set, it will automatically shift the threads up and down so you can see how the shed would set when the shot is actually thrown. Now to control the view, first shot is what I'm looking at. If I hit the next shot, I can see the first shot was thrown here, came back in, comes through the second shot, and it comes out the right-hand side. If I hit the next shot, I can now actually watch that shot move back and forth, and I can see the pattern laying in. The colors you're seeing for the shots here are not actually the thread colors. It's a synthetic sequence, so I can physically see which shots are going where. And you'll notice when it comes out the side here, when I hit the next shot, is wrap that thread back around, and so I can see it coming back out the other side. The other aspect of the control that I have here is I can switch and start from the left-hand side, or start from the right-hand side. Most of my folding starts on the right-hand side, so it kind of defaults that way. Now I'm looking at shed view. If I turn the shed view off, I can also have an ability of moving individual threads. And all of the threads are elastic, so I can physically see the movement. So if I'm trying to figure out which thread's interfering, it gives me that tool. And the other thing that's useful, that's the first shot. And this pattern, you'll notice, has 264 shots in it. If I start on the first shaft and hit the previous shot, that's now overlaid all 264 shots on this pattern. And what I can actually see is it started here, weaves through relatively cleanly. Let me turn the shed off again for a second. And I can actually see a relatively clean pattern. One thing this is showing me is there's one of the shots that's going to come across, and that's a fairly long float from the point twill, and that's actually going to skip 5 threads in the final product. And that says when you try and unfold it, that's going to be a problem. So this is showing me that kind of information. And the fixed resolution will show you what you can do about that in the power. Similar thing on the second fold here, the third fold here because of the point. And the other thing it's also showing me is you'll notice at the end where if you had a floating selvage, this problem would not have occurred. But by virtue of the fact that I can't do a floating selvage on a folded pattern, it would sew the layers together. I've actually got an anomaly here that I would need to fix if I was really going to go weave this. So that's kind of the general capability of the view tool, and it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure how usable it is for most people. For me to troubleshoot on the folding stuff, it was something I just needed to see to understand. Hope that helps. Bye now.